storms coming out for NonY. So a great counter to these Hydralisks, as they have just a little bit of life, 80 life compared to those roaches. Storms are going to shred through them quite quickly. See another upgrade coming from NonY. So level 2 armor. He is not skimping on those upgrades. These units are going to be very powerful once they finish. See, just basic gateway units being favored by LiquidTyler at this point, not going for any sort of Colossus, not going Void Rays or anything crazy like that, just using those upgrades to make these initial units more and more powerful. So we'll see how he's going to be able to use these storms against Rigid. Rigid is moving in with the Overseer, possibly to do some scouting, but he's mostly going to see the army of NonY here. He's going to know that he's mostly gateway units, and he's going to know that these High Templar are now on the field. So Rigid was just droning up there, going to try to saturate this 4th expansion and get that income going. He's now at 2,100 minerals per minute, 77 harvesters, so quite the advantage. LiquidTyler is going to have to push in here and try to harass one of these expansions. See the army tab, 4,100 advantage to the Zerg player right now compared to the 3,500 of NonY. May see an engagement here. Charge has finished for these Zealots, so now moving in quite powerful against these Hydralisks. Hydralisks are doing a great job microwing out of that storms and trying to focus down these High Templar. A number of High Templar are going down to those roaches, but the High Templar are able to use storms on those Hydralisks, take down a bunch of Hydralisks in the center there. Looks like NonY is going to have the advantage here. He does have to focus down those remaining units of Rigid. It looks like he's going to pull back here, try to take down a few Overlords, and maybe call it a day with this attack. He's down to 1 High Templar. It's not able to storm. Going to reinforce with a bunch of charge lots. And it looks like he was able to establish this 3rd, this gold. And he's now going to need to rally a number of workers here. He's now down by almost 1,000 minerals per minute to Rigid. So he's going to make sure that he's able to drone up or probe up off of these 3 Nexus. Perhaps get a few chrono boosts on them as well, as he is getting pretty high on the chrono boost on all of his Nexus. Just not much of an army right now for LiquidTyler. He needs to continue to reinforce here, or else the Zerg player is just going to overwhelm him, as we now see that the Rigid does have burrow for these roaches, as well as the healing, so it's going to be very powerful against those storms. Roaches are going to be able to burrow anytime they're stormed, heal up quickly, and then pop right back up. NonY does have this Observer, so he can try to focus down the roaches. Like to see more Immortals from him at this point, but it looks like he is heavily invested in those High Templar, now getting out the Amulet and more High Templar. We do see a Greater Spire coming out for Rigid, so he has yet to use any sort of Mutalisks. He did throw up a few Corruptors. They're just waiting here, so those could perhaps become Broodlords. Not much anti-air for NonY at this point. He's mostly focusing on these charge lots and the High Templar, so using most of his gas on the High Templar. Not even many Stalkers at this point. So we see an attack coming in for Rigid, going to be able to take down that forward pylon, and now he does have this burrow, so anytime he gets stormed here, as the storms are going down instead on the Hydralisk, there's 1 storm, 2 storms down on the roaches, and you see these roaches are going to be able to just heal through these storms as they move away. All those Hydralisks are going to go down, however, and Rigid's going to need to do a good job with these 2/2 roaches. Great burrow there. You see they're going to be able to heal up very quickly, and nothing NonY can do about it. He does have the Observer, so he's going to need to try to pick off those roaches one at a time if they do burrow. He does need to continue to use storms here. Place pressure on Rigid, make him micro those roaches, or at least prevent him from attacking. So we see another pylon go down. NonY's not able to take that 4th, as Rigid's now on a 5th base. If we look at the income tab, 2,000 to 1,700 here, so not quite the advantage that he had before, but as soon as he gets that 5th base up and running, he's going to be very set on the income. So we see these Broodlords now coming in, going to be great against these mostly gateway units. So we see a number of storms come down, not taking down any of these roaches. Roaches are burrowed. Still no roach deaths right now. Doing his best to try to hit as many of these roaches as possible, but the roaches unburrow with full health against these gateway units. Going to be able to take down these Stalkers and just burrow anytime they get low. These Broodlords are doing their best against these Immortals. Very powerful with the multiple attacks against the Immortals. just taking down those shields quickly. And now the Stalkers are not going to be any match for these Broodlords and the Roaches. Roaches, anytime they get low, are just going to be able to burrow. And LiquidTyler is in trouble here. He's got no answer for this comp of Rigid, as he's done a great job countering those storms with these burrowed Roaches. And then the Broodlords are just so powerful against these Stalkers right now. Cannot get range. No blink for the Stalkers to close this distance. No Colossus to take down those Roaches as they're burrowed. And LiquidTyler is just being pinched in here. The Broodlords are split. They're attacking this Nexus, going to try to take down the gold expansion. He knows that this attack doesn't work. If he's able to take down that gold, it'll cripple LiquidTyler for the rest of the game. If we look at the income tab, 74 Harvesters, the 57, as we see more Roaches and now Zerglings flooding in from Rigid, and LiquidTyler down to his last few Stalkers. These Photon Cannons are no match for these Zerglings at this point. 3 armor on those Zerglings, so both players with quite the upgrades on their initial forces. And just the great comp of Rigid is able to take down the counter comp of LiquidTyler here. So LiquidTyler, very interesting build of mostly gateway units, a fast expand, very little unit producing structures at the start. Not talking about how little anti-air you have to get against Protoss, just no great air units for Protoss. The Void Ray Harass early on can be repelled easily by the Queens. And carriers later on, not much of an option. Requires quite the tech switch, and the sink of minerals and gas. Not like Zerg, where you can just tech switch anytime you want with those stored up larvae. So a little bit of QQ from NonY here, but Rigid is being quite the gracious winner here. Did a great job with those Roaches, and now into Broodlords for the win. Finally, we see a Void Ray coming out for NonY. Too little, too late. Going to be able to taken down by these Hydralisks. So, going to be a loss for LiquidTyler here. Just a great comp by Rigid. We see a very solid player, ranked 54th in the top 200. So hopefully we can see more from him, perhaps in some tournaments in the future, or at least in some more ladder replays. So this has been Matron bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary. As always, if you enjoyed this, comment on the game, on the players, on the cast. Maybe throw a subscription my way, and be sure to check out my other games. I'll see you next time.